Tandem Nomads, episode 113. You're really serious about your business. You really want to make it happen. You're committed to it. But life is so busy. You might have kids. You might be on the move. You might have so many other obligations and responsibilities. So how are you going to get all these things done in order to turn your challenges into successful, portable business? So today, I'm going to help you just do that. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show and entrepreneurship platform where you can find great inspiration and tips to build and grow a successful, portable business, but also thrive in your global nomadic life. I am Emel Teregi. This is your host. I'm a business and marketing coach and the founder of Tandem Nomads. So today, I'm going to share with you my 10 tips to get things done and be in control of your time. Before we start the show, I would just like to take a few minutes to thank you for tuning in. I just want you to know how much it means to me. There are so many podcasts nowadays out there, especially in the expat world. It's starting to grow. I'm so excited to see so many podcasts coming out there. But I do know that talking about time, there's so much time left to be able to listen and to consume all these episodes and this content. So I really hope that I will serve you well. This is my goal in this episode and every episode. And my other goal here is to also support you in growing your business and making sure that you make the best of this experience on the move. And I would love to connect with you. So make sure to share with me your insights and your feedback in the comment section of this episode. I would love to hear from you, whether you've been listening to this episode forever or if you're a newcomer. If this is your first time, welcome and please introduce yourself. This for me is really the opportunity to connect with you and be with you. So this episode is really important for me because if there is one frustration as an entrepreneur, but also as a coach for my clients, is that there's so many marketing strategies and tips out there to be able to grow our businesses. The possibilities are endless. There are some systems that are pretty standards, and then there are some others where you have to be a bit creative. But no matter what you know or what you can do, nothing would work if you can't commit to it. And for me, I see it as the biggest challenge for me, but also the clients I work with. It's so hard to find the time to really implement all these strategies in an effective way. And I realized that we all suffer from something, which is the lack of time. And one thing we have to realize is that time is not stretchable. We only have that hour for once in our life. We'll never get it back. So we really need to think about how we're spending our time. We really need to know if we're stressing ourselves over something for a good reason or not. So before I share with you my tips, I really wanted to share that with you. If you feel like you're not controlling your time or that you struggle to get things done, then I really think that you're the only one who can answer the question, why is that? Why is it that you can't get things done? So before I share with you these tips, I really wanted to invite you to ask yourself, what is stopping you from doing that? I would also like to invite you to be honest about it. Are you being lazy? Are you just not being organized? Are you trying to skip some steps? I really want you to be honest to yourself about this. This is really important because if something matters to you, then you need to give it the attention it needs. And if you're just, waiting for things to happen by their own, they won't. It's as simple as that. So if you really want to build your own source of fulfillment and your own source of revenue, even with the challenges, especially if you're an expat partner, as you know, I'm really focused on supporting the expat spouses here who have so many challenges to be able to continue to build something for their own while supporting their families on the move. I know how hard it is, but you cannot allow yourself to give it up. You can't. It doesn't matter how busy you are, and we'll talk about that. I can tell you one thing is that it is not natural to manage our time in an effective way. Nobody is born being effective. Some people have a better skill at it than others. To be able to become effective, you need to be convinced that this is something you can learn. And when you learn how to do it, it's not going to work the first time. You're going to have to go at it again and again and try it again and keep going at it. So productivity is something that you can learn. You're not born with it. So this is why we have this episode. But I have to say that I really think it's due to our times today with social media, with all the possibilities out there. Here's the thing. We have more and more opportunities today to be able to grow successful businesses and do amazing things. There's more and more technologies that allowed us to do so much. The downside of that is that it grows our list of things to do and to think about and to plan. So I really want you to set your priorities, first of all, know really what matters to you, but also learn how to take control of your time. So this episode, I'm going to share with you some quick tips about that, some quick hacks, productivity hacks, like online tools and resources and some quick tips about this. But I really think that you need to take the time to learn about why you're doing what you're doing, but also how you can take control of your time. So I have prepared for you a free video course. It's a full course, and you will have to take some time for it, about half an hour to go through it, where I take you through 5 steps to take control of your time, but also take control of your life, because this is your life. This is about your life. So you can't underestimate this. If you feel like you're not controlling your time, you can easily say you're actually not controlling your life. So if you're interested in getting this video course and knowing about these 5 steps to be able to get back the control of your life and your time, go to tandemnomads.com/113 and you'll be able to download that video course that I prepared just for you. This is something that I usually share just with my clients, but I'm giving it away for you right here for all of you here who are listening. So tandemnomads.com/113. Okay, now we can get started with the 10 tips to get things done and get more productive with all the things you have to do. So the first tip is remove all notifications from your phone, from your computer, from your laptop. I did this 2 years ago. I just took my computer, took my phone, and removed all the notifications. Because then there's one thing I realized is that when you keep your devices sending you notifications, you are basically accepting to run your day on other people's agenda. So don't be on other people's agenda. And this is really, really important. I don't know if you've experienced that, but for example, if you're on your computer working on writing your book or your article, and then suddenly you see a window popping up saying you received an email, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go and read it, right? So remove all those distractions. Don't ever have any notifications on, and decide at what time of the day you will check your emails, at what time of the day you will check your social media and Facebook. So make it your decision when you go to distract yourself, instead of having the device or other people's posts and notifications to tell you what to do when. You need to be in control of your time, and in order to do that, you need to remove those notifications. I actually even removed my email app from my phone because I don't want to be all the time on my emails, and I don't want to be all the time on my social media as much as I like it. So I have defined specific moments in the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, and shortly before the evening, where I really go check my phone and check my social media. Of course, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of times where the temptation is there and then I still go. But when I know that I have things important to do, my phone is off and my notifications are anyways off, so I never get distracted with those things. So start with that. That's the easiest thing you can do right now. Just go and remove all the notifications from your phone and from your computer. So that was the first tip. And actually, if you go to the show notes of this episode, the webpage of this episode, tandemnomads.com/113, there I will list a lot of tools that I'm going to mention for you in this episode. So the first tool for this first hack is there's an app. I haven't used it, to be honest with you, because I have removed all notifications. But in certain cases, if you need to be online and don't want to be distracted by other websites, you have an app called selfcontrolapp.com. So you can check it out and install it. If you're a geek and you like this kind of things, this might be something for you. The second tip now that I really highly recommend you is to only have 3 goals per day and only focus on 3 goals per day. This is something that I learned from Michael Hyatt, which is a great guru and coach and influencer in the area of entrepreneurship and productivity. And speaking about him, I absolutely love his planner, which is called Full Focus Planner. In the webpage, you'll find the link to find it. The Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. And that's actually a kind of a journal that you check every day, but it's not a calendar, it's not a journal, it's something in between, it's a planner, where you really track every day your 3 big goals and how to reach them. So you want to check that. A lot of people have to-do lists. I have banned to-do lists from my life, and you will see how I did that in a bit later. But I really, in my case, it just never worked, and I don't believe in checklists. I know that it feels great to be able to check that list, that one item from the week, but then you end your day and half of the list is not done. And I think one of the reasons why we don't reach our goals is because we get disappointed and frustrated for not having reached them all. So at some point we just give up and we don't commit to it anymore. So if you only focus on 3 big goals per day and then you achieve them and even set yourself a reward at the end, you will be more encouraged to keep going on that track. So only 3 big goals per day, and check out Michael Hyatt's planner. It is fantastic. I use it every day, and it's been just an amazing tool for me to be able to reach my goals. And when I'm talking about goals, just something, a side note here, I'm talking about things that have to be done. They're not the daily tasks, things that, like, I'm not talking about, for example, cooking or, checking my emails or something like that. I'm talking about actual things you really need to achieve. For example, if you want to write a book, your 3 goals for that day is research this article, contact this person who can help you with the promotion. And a third one would be check self-publishing resources, for example. So you really want to have those goals related to your big vision and what you really want to achieve at the end of the week or at the end of the month or even at the end of the day, but it has to be more than just the usual tasks. So you want to check that. Then we have the third tip. So this is the third tip that really, really helped me a lot. So you see how we keep working sometimes and have a really hard time focusing and getting distracted. So even once I remove my notifications, my brain sometimes would just, wander here and there. And instead of doing something that should have taken an hour, it will end up taking me 3 hours. So I want to share with you this tip that one of my mentors have taught me, John Lee Dumas, is the focus timer. So I have a timer that I use for 3 sessions per day of 45-minute focus. So that's all I have to do when I have to achieve things. I block 45 minutes to make it happen, and then I have a 10 or 15 minutes break and then move on to something else, for example. So I put my timer, the timer is your friend, and you set it for 45 minutes, and you just focus on it. Get your timer on your phone or on a normal traditional alarm for 45 minutes and just know that you have 45 minutes to get this done. And at the end of this 45 minutes, if you're not done, just set up another 45 minutes, but have that break because you need to have those breaks. Very important. So I will share with you in the show note of this episode, tandemnomads.com/113, I will share with you the Freedom Journal. That is a journaling book that John Lee Dumas, my mentor, has created to be able to journal while achieving your goals. It's really, really useful. And his whole system and his whole method is all around these 45 minutes focus times. So you really want to check it out. You'll find it there. It's called the Freedom Journal. And I just want to tell you something about these 45 minutes. I know I'm not going to be proper here and maybe use appropriate language, but at the end of the day, if you want to get things done, you need to put your ass on the chair. So there's nothing else to do than that. And I mean it in a nice way, but I hope that you do realize that. Just put your ass on the chair and focus for 45 minutes and get that thing done. And if you take that online course, that video course that I prepared for you, I give you some more tips to be able to do that also with all the other things, especially if you are a mom or have other things to do, how to make sure to be able to focus during those 45 minutes and create the right environment to make it happen. So that was the third tip to get things done. And now the tip number 4. You need to be specific with your to-do lists and use action verbs. A lot of people, when they would put on that list the things to do, for example, they would say shopping or blog article. Let's say blog article. So this is not precise enough. So instead of saying, for instance, blog article, you need to say, write the article about something. Let's say you're writing an article about finding your purpose. You need to put down, write article on how to find purpose. So do you see how your list will completely shift? Instead of having just a bunch of words, you will have a sentence that will tell you what you actually have to do. You have to write that article and you will relate to that action verb mentally much more than if you have just simple 2 words that says blog article. So very, very important. Describe your tasks in full sentences and use an action verb, which is very related to my 5th tip, is that you want to break down your goals into baby steps. For example, you might not be able to write one article in one day or even in 45 minutes. That might not be possible. But do you mean that you're just not going to do it because you can't do it at once? Of course not. So what you want to do is to break down that task into baby steps. Here is an example. Let's go back to that blog article on how to find purpose. So in order to write this article, you might have at least 6 or 10 steps to be able to get there. For example, the first one could be research the topic on how to find purpose. You might want to know what is out there, what books are out there, what other articles are out there that could inspire you to really consider this article in an effective way and make it really valuable. So first step, research the topic. So that's something you could do for 45 minutes and then move on to something else. Second step, create an outline for the article and a title for the article. As you can see, again, I use the verb each time. Create an outline for the article and create a title for the article. This is another thing you can do in 45 minutes, maybe even less. Then comes the step of write the article on how to find purpose. So you have done the research, you have your outline, you have your title. So now it's just about filling up the blanks. So this is another step you could take in 45 minutes. Once you wrote the article, what do you have to do? There's a lot of other steps actually to do once you wrote an article, right? So for example, you need to create the images on Canva, for example. So create images on Canva for the article on how to find purpose. So you really want to be specific again. Once you have created the article, comes another steps. Upload the blog article on my website. And then prepare the newsletter and social media posts to promote the blog. And finally, schedule the promotion of the article. We'll talk about scheduling in a bit. But you can see how we went from simple text that says blog article to actually describing each mini step of how to write the blog article and what tasks are involved. And the reason you want to do that is most of the time people don't reach their goals because they misevaluate the time that they will need to do it. So you think you can do it, crack it in 2 hours. You might actually be able to crack it in 2 hours. But if you're struggling with it, then try this tip. Try this way to do it. Break it down in baby steps, and you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in multiple times during the week. So check that, test it out, and let me know how did that go. Because for me, it has been so effective. And this is actually a tool I was not planning to talk about, but I have broken down the process of the podcast production into these mini steps. And then I have put them into my project management tool that I absolutely love, that I just started. It's called asana.com. And every time I reach one of those baby steps, I just click on it and it sends me an email saying task completed. And there's absolutely nothing better than having that feeling of having achieved that baby step. So, and that gets you really much faster to that end goal. So break down your goals into baby steps, or break down your tasks into subtasks. So now let's go to the sixth tip on how to, be more productive and be in control of your time, is to schedule all your activities. So I always say to my client, if you don't see it, you won't do it. So even tasks as shopping, I really want you to put it in your calendar. By the way, if you don't have a calendar, you need to fix that right away. I still know people who don't have a calendar. They just do things off the bat because they have a good memory. But if you don't see it, you won't do it. So whether you like paper calendars and agendas, or you like Google calendars, I don't care what tool you use, but you need to have a calendar. And inside, you want to schedule all your tasks. For example, I showed you the example of the article. Those baby steps, for example, research the topic of how to find purpose. That task, you want to put it as it is in your calendar. So decide that from 10 to 10:45 on Tuesday, I'll research the topic of how to find purpose. If it's not in your calendar, it won't happen. And if you don't see it, you won't do it. So very, very important. Which leads me to my 7th tip. Create a defined weekly schedule. You want to create a defined weekly schedule because it is the best way to be able to create the routines for success. And what do I mean by weekly schedule? Do you remember when you were in school and you had, for every single week, at the same day of the week, the same classes? For example, you would have on Mondays math from 8 to 10, and then you would have a history class from 10 to 11, and then you would have a break, etc. So you want to create a weekly typical schedule for yourself that includes even your personal tasks. For example, in the morning, you might need to wake up the kids, dress them up, prepare breakfast, prepare their lunch, and then drive them to school and then come back. So this is something you want to put in your calendar. It is part of your life and part of your task. And one of the reasons why I know a lot of moms struggle to reach their goals is because they don't consider this as a task, or it's so normal and part of their life that they don't think they have to plan it. It has to be in your calendar so that you can really see that it's not doable for you to do that thing you want to do if you know that you have to be gone for 2 hours back and forth to go shopping and drop the kids to school. So if you really visualize it, you will know that that thing you wanted to do, you can't do it because technically and realistically, it's not doable. So up to you, once you see it in your calendar, to find that ideal moment where you actually can do it. Very important. So create your defined weekly typical schedule. And in the video that I have prepared for you, that video course, I teach you how to do it. So make sure to go to tandemnomads.com/113 and you'll be able to download that video there. I go in details into that. And one thing you can also do is go to YouTube and you can just type how to set up a Google Calendar with color codes. Because what I do, I have different color codes for different types of activities. For example, my activities are divided between, while I'm recording, I'm just looking at my calendar. So I have brown for strategy and planning. I have a kind of purple, yellow, a funny color for learning, because I do schedule my time for continuing to learn. I have blue for social media. I have pink for client sessions, blue, a really poppy blue for content productions, green for emails and admin, and pink for self-care. So even the things that are just fun, I am scheduling a time in my calendar that I know that this is time that I will block for just me, and I will not have an appointment there. Unless it's really important, I will never set up a client appointment there. For example, my Friday, starting from 11 a.m., I don't take any more clients. I actually don't take clients on Fridays. Fridays are my inspirational days. I do the reading, the learning, my mastermind, and then I go to yoga. In the afternoon, I do whatever I want to do. And because I need that time to not have everything scheduled in my life, which leads me to that issue of a lot of clients tell me, yeah, but I don't want to have a life where everything is scheduled. Well, even the chaos, you can leave time for chaos if you feed up yourself to it, but just block that time for chaos in your calendar like I do with my Fridays. My Fridays are the time for chaos, where I don't schedule anything. I let it happen as it should happen. But I can tell you, if you really take the habit of knowing every day of the week, what do you have from which time to which time and what kind of activities you will have, then it will be much easier for you to really plan your tasks and know what to do, when to do it. So again, the video will take you in details of how to do that. So that was the 7th tip, create a defined weekly schedule. Now, I want to share with you something a little more advanced and a little more maybe geeky, especially for you who have a business. This is especially useful for you who have a business, but you'll see I'm actually going to mention an example that has nothing to do with business. But the 8th tip is batch, automate, and delegate. So you want to batch things that you want to do. So batching is the concept of doing, blocking one time to do one type of activity. For example, my podcast episodes, I batch them. I have 1 week where I set up 4 hours once a month where I actually do one episode after the other. I just record one episode after the other because I want to make sure that I'm fully focused on it. And then when I have my 4 episodes scheduled, all I have to do is to then have my assistant, edit them and prepare the webpage and everything. And all that, and then I can finally focus on my clients. So batching has been huge, revolution for me to finally be able to do one task, to block one time for one type of activity. So for example, if you're a blogger, you could do the same thing. You can just block, a full day that's only for blogging, and even if it's a full day, you want to really make sure that you have those 45 minutes of focus and then 10-15 minutes of break. Very important, otherwise you can't stay focused. But batching is a huge way to do it. It's basically like a Taylorism, the concept of doing one task like in an industrial field. It's the same concept. So once you batch, you also want to automate and or delegate. And that's the great thing about today. There's so many tools out there that you can automate and delegate. And I'm going to give you some examples. I want to start with one tool that I can't live without it. So when I started Tandem Nomads, and interviewing people, one of the biggest challenge and time consuming was to schedule that appointment with the people I would interview on the podcast. And then it became more complicated with clients to find a time to meet them when they're all around the world. I'm like, how I'm going to manage finding a common time with everybody and stop wasting time with back and forth and confusions with time zones. It was just a complete mess. So since then, I found an amazing tool called CoScheduler. which is an automatic scheduler where you give a link to your client or to that person who you want to talk to or set up an appointment with. You give that link, and that tool is connected to your calendar, and you can decide which parts of your calendar you want to open up for people to schedule you. And that's what I do. For example, my coaching days are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays the whole day, and Thursdays sometimes in the afternoon or the morning. So I know that those are the time to schedule for my clients. So I just give them the link and they decide what is the best time for them. So we don't have any more to waste time going back and forth communicating. But the best thing about this tool is also that it sends you an automatic reminder. That's another thing that used to happen to me. Clients that forget that we have an appointment or just have an issue with the time zone, and also lose the link to my tool to communicate, which is Zoom. So in that tool, it tells you automatically where the link, why is this session for, and also what time is it, and you can set it up to send a reminder as many times as you want. I have, for example, a reminder 24 hours before and 10 minutes before the session. So this has been such a revolution. I'm such a fan of CoScheduler, and I think, not CoSchedule, Schedule One, sorry. They might have changed their branding recently. I think it's called Once Hub now, but it's still the same tool. And there's another one called Calendly. So if you have clients and you find yourself wasting time finding out when to talk to them, and waste time in time zones and everything like that, make sure to check it out. Again, all these tools I'm giving you are going to be listed in the webpage of this episode. So now I want to talk about specific marketing tools that like if you have a portable business, you need them. These are the minimal marketing tools you need to save time, batch, automate. So for your newsletter, obviously every single newsletter tools have a scheduler. So for example, if you use MailChimp, you can write your newsletter once you have batched it, and then you can just set it up to go automatically the day you want to go, and you don't have to go back to that tool to have it, be sent at the right time. So an amazing tool, you want to check it out. MailChimp, there's a ConvertKit, there's so many other tools there, but MailChimp is the most common one for those who are just starting out with their portable business, and even those who are more advanced. So ConvertKit is something I'm looking into more and more now, for different technical reasons, but you also want to check that. Social media. I know that we waste so much time in social media. You don't have to post everything right away. You can also schedule your social media. So to schedule your social media, you have a lot of online tools like buffer.com. Know that if you go inside Facebook, for example, if you use your Facebook page, you can automatically schedule your posts directly in the publisher tool of your Facebook page. So you want to check that out. Let's talk about emails now. I just want to go back to messaging and emails. There's another great tool that Gmail has. It's called Canned Responses, and that's designed specifically for people. If you have people always asking you the same question, you can have a template set up on your Gmail, and every time you have that same question, you can automatically send the response. The email is already written, so you have saved a lot of time by just having it all in a template, and it's all canned, and you just send it out. So this is really cool. There's another tool that I'm just starting to use. It's called textexpander.com. I can't give you so much feedback about it, but I heard it's amazing. It's basically a tool where you program, for example, 3 letters of your keyboard to always say the same thing. For example, let's say people reach out to you on your Facebook Messenger of your Facebook page, and they ask you for a particular question. If it's usually, where can I find your freebie on this topic? So if you have this question very often, you can program it, and all you have to do is type those 3 letters, and automatically it will give them all the information. You don't have to type it anymore. Really cool tool. So you should really take benefit of this amazing technologies. They're so simple to use and very, very helpful. For social media in general, I mentioned Buffer. There's also coschedule.com. I'm just going back and forth here, but just wanted to throw it out. So you can see here how many tools exist. So think about batching. Once you have batched your content and every task you might have, then think about automating. I gave you some tools. And then ultimately, even with automating, you can delegate. If you start having a little bit of revenue, think of starting to delegate, because even automating will take some time to be able to enter things in system. Once you delegate, it might cost you a bit more money, but that's time that you're free to produce more money. So you really want to think about that if it makes sense for you. I just want to make a fun joke, a little private joke about batching, but more in the private setting. So some of you might have paid attention that one of the episodes I shared with you was about Ayurvedic cooking. So I have hired Rashmi, who was the guest of this episode on how to cook. Let me see, this episode was the number... which number was it? I'm just checking while I'm talking to you here. Episode 106. So if you go to tandemnomads.com/106, you will listen all the great tips on how to preserve your health and the energy you need in your business with easy Ayurvedic recipes. So after this interview, I was so convinced with what she said that I ended up hiring her and went on the 4-month journey with her where she taught me how to cook. And I was telling her how I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to cook for myself. And especially if Michael's not here, I'm not going to cook. I'm just going to eat cheese, bread, tomato, or get some food from outside. And that has really hit my energy if you do this for many years. So we talk about batching for cooking, so how you can prep your food on Sunday for the rest of the week. So if cooking is taking so much time because you need to feed your whole family, know that you can batch your cooking once a week, prep the food you need, and all you have to do is put things together just before the meal. And I've tried that. It's been a revolution. I promise to you, it's been a revolution in my life to do that. I not only eat better, I have more fun with food, and on top of it, I'm more efficient. I'm gaining time. I'm not wasting time like I used to. And I also discovered another amazing thing, which is the slow cooker. So with the slow cooker, you can just put, your veggies together and everything. You just throw everything in and you close it and it's done. And you just set it up for as much time as you need. For instance, I think the slow cooker is an average 4 hours. I just do it in the morning. I put everything in my slow cooker. And then for the evening, the dinner is ready. All I have to do is just open and serve it in the plates. It's just amazing. So I know I've been geeking out about this, but this has really been a huge revolution for me to learn how to really be mindful about the way I eat and eat healthy food while not spending too much time on it and being clever about how I do it. So check that out also, the episode 106. Okay, so this was the tip number 8, batch, automate, and delegate. Tip number 9. Okay, this is really, really important. Tip number 9. What happens is that we have a busy day, we do things, we rush all over the place, and then we're so exhausted that we end our day and we just crush in bed. I know that feeling. But here's what you absolutely need to do before you go to bed. You need to look at your calendar, and this is why I insisted that you have one. You need to look at your calendar, and before you go to bed, you really watch all the things you need to do the next day. Because you're setting up your brain to be prepared for the next day already, and you will wake up knowing exactly what you have to do. So make sure to finish every single day by checking all the things you have to do the next day. And by the way, you do the same with your week. For instance, every Friday, I really check what all the things that have to happen the next week. And every month, at the end of the month, I check what has to happen the next month. Same for the quarter and same for the year. So, but start with your day. It's already great if you do that. At the end of every day, you want to check what you have to do the next day. Make it a habit, please. If there's only one thing you want to do is this. Make sure to make it a habit that every night before you go to bed, you know exactly what you have to do the next day. Then, when you wake up the next day, you will already be more prepared. But this time, instead of just like looking through all the tasks you'll have to do, I want you to envision yourself making it happen. Like close your eyes and envision yourself making each of those tasks happen, and ask yourself, what could distract me and what will I do if I have a distraction? Have that conversation with yourself. It is so important. I know it's a very small detail. It takes 5 seconds to do that, but the whole mindset shift that you'll have to be able to reach your goal is going to be huge. I can tell you, every time I don't do that, I can guarantee that my day is not going to go the right way. So try it out and let me know. Please let me know if it worked out for you. For me, this has been a huge change to do that. And finally, last tip. Do not underestimate the power of habits and routines. If there is only one reason why Tandem Nomads launch was possible 3.5 years ago, was thanks to that realization that I had that my morning routines are going to be what are going to set me up for my success. And I have an amazing book for you. It's called The Miracle Morning, so you can check it out. And it is based on a few acronyms, but the acronym is SAVERS. And SAVERS stand for silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, research, and scribing. So these are the principles of the Miracle Morning, and I won't go into details about it, but what I want to share with you is, you know how life is so busy. We have so much to do. And once we set on our day and we start our day, we are immediately, and by the way, very often on other people's agendas. So for me, what has been revolutionary to go through this book is I did not follow all the tips of this book, but just setting up my alarm just half an hour earlier than usual to do what I want to do instead of what I have to do has been a huge mindset shift, a huge one. So this book is a lot about that, why you should wake up for what you want to achieve in your life instead of what you have to do. And they really take you, the author of this book is just amazing. His name is Hal Elrod, and I could talk about this for hours, but it's just amazing book. And if you read this book, I just have one message for you. If you read this book and you're not a morning person, I don't want you to wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. as it's suggested sometimes in this book. No, just start with a little bit earlier than what you're used to do. Start with just half an hour, for example, or 20 minutes. And just have those 20 minutes to do one thing that can get you closer to your goal or your overall dream or vision. So that's the principle. If you read the book, you might get discouraged of thinking, oh, I have to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. No. But what has happened is that by doing that, I was not a morning person. But by just waking up half an hour, and I did it for like 4 or 5 months, then it became much easier. Then I pushed it to 45 minutes. And then suddenly, a year or two later, I was waking up at 5 in the morning every day and exercising, reading, journaling, and doing all the things that set me up for my success and my future instead of starting right away my day with my emails and my social media. This was just amazing. So I can't recommend it to you enough. If you really care for your mission, for what you really want to achieve, you need to think about that option for you, the Miracle Morning. Wake up in the morning with what you really want to achieve and succeed at, and what you really, really want to do in your life and with your life instead of what you think you have to do. For example, if you have kids, I know it's super hard. You need to wake up and take care of them. So can you just wake up maybe 20 minutes a bit earlier to just take care of yourself and your dreams? Just 20 minutes before everybody's up to take care of your own needs and your own dreams. And this is all we're about here, by the way. Nomad Nation, this is exactly why we're here, to be able to achieve your dreams and turn your challenges, as I always say, into opportunities for you. And your morning is one of the best moments where you can do that. I will share also a quote of my grandmother that used to tell me, "The world belongs to those who wake up with the sun." So this is it. These were my 10 tips. I did not expect it to take so long, but here we go. I think those are really, really great tips. And if you only implement one of them, I'm sure that you will go really, really far ahead. And if you implement all of them, oh my God, I know for sure that you are gonna get amazing results. And I want to hear from you. I want to know what you are gonna implement. Please reach out in the comment section of this episode or on social media, on Facebook page or Instagram. And I want to know, what are you going to implement to be able to reach your goals and your dreams? And more importantly, to really take control of your time and get things done. Okay, so make sure to share your comment and don't forget to use this free video course that I have for you. Go to tandemnomads.com/113. All right, Nomad Nation, I can't wait to hear from you. And once more, thank you so much for tuning in and taking the time to be with me here. I hope that I have served you well for your time. And I would actually love it if you're listening to this podcast episode on iTunes, please share your reviews with us. It will really be so helpful to have your review and to be able to have your feedback in there. Thank you so much, Nomad Nation, and stay tuned to turn your challenges into wonderful opportunities.